Okay, our author illustrator project is on Judy Bloom, and I'm Michaela.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Allison.
Judy Bloom has sold more than 85 million copies of her books in 5 different languages. She is a regular to censorship, and many of her books have been censored. She's on one of the most frequent authors that has been censored. So because of this, she's part of the National Coalition Against Censorship, where she fights tirelessly to help teachers and librarians keep quality literature on the shelves. She has been writing for more than 50 years, and she continues to produce literature.
She grew up in New Jersey and graduated from New York University and started writing in her mid-20s. She loves to start books at a new point in a character's life.
And if you want to watch a video about Judy Bloom talking about her own censorship and trigger words used in censorship, you can click on the link. And the book we chose to do for our presentation is Iggy's House. This is about a book about a girl who her best friend moved out in her neighborhood, and she's really excited to see what new people move in. She is surprised to see that it is a Black family, which is super unusual for her upscale, all-white neighborhood, and everyone is in total shock, but she is really excited to make friends with the 2 boys and their sister. There's a particularly horrible neighbor named Mrs. Landon who makes a petition to get them out of the neighborhood. She puts a stake in their yard telling them to get out. And Winnie just cannot fathom how someone could be so horrible to someone based upon their race. And then one of the boys is actually pretty skeptical of Winnie because she's white and she's taking so much interest in them. But eventually the horrible neighbor moves out of the neighborhood, and this allows Winnie and the Garbers to create a real friendship beyond the racial boundaries. And a passage from the book that we want to read is about Winnie and a girl who's talking about how she doesn't want to hang out with the Garbers. This time, there was no mistaking little Miss Germhead's reply. My mother says I can't play with any colored kids. Clarice ran back up the front walk to her rocking chair and her paper dolls. Winnie felt sick. How could anyone say a thing like that? So this just shows Winnie's innocence in the matter and how she doesn't understand how people are being so discriminatory towards these people.
So we did have some critical comments about the book. We did love how Winnie's naive and innocent view of race and discrimination, because she couldn't fathom the thought of people hating other people based on their skin color. And also we liked how Judy Bloom shows how Winnie evolves throughout the book, and how she gains an understanding of discrimination, and how she gets people like her parents to understand discrimination as well. And then also,
like Michaela said, one of the boys was skeptic, and we understood why, but we just didn't like how harsh she was on her.
And then our teaching idea would be to have the kids draw a picture of everyone important in their life, anyone who's impacted them, and then we would compare and contrast all the different people surrounded by us in our lives, and then we would bring this into a discussion about diversity and differences that we all have, and then we would, throughout the book, give them a character log where each character, you could write down how they felt towards the Garbers moving into the neighborhood, and then also how the Garbers felt toward Winnie, and just how their different attitudes were really influenced by race and stereotypes. And then we would follow up with some critical questions such as, would you have reacted the same way Winnie did to the Garbers moving in? Why or why not? And would you have done anything differently than Winnie did throughout the story?
So aside from our main book, for the other books produced by Judy Bloom, one of them was Blubber, which is about a girl named Linda, and it talks about bullying in a school setting. So Linda is bullied by her peers, and then all of a sudden one of her bulliers, Jill, is later bullied by her peers. So it kind of shows the stories between the bully and the bullier. So the way we can incorporate this in the curriculum is asking students to compare different point of views from the point of view of being a bully and then being the one who is bullied. So
and then this story, it's called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, is a story about an internal struggle of a young girl between what religion she wants to be. Her parents have different religions, and she has this struggle of what she wants to be and how she wants to identify. And we would make this an option for our students since religion is a hot topic, and then we would just ask them to analyze the character development and internal struggles throughout the story, and how she responds to various events throughout the story. And then this is a coming of age story of a young man. It's called Then Again, Maybe I Won't. It's about a boy who whose family becomes wealthy and he moves into a new neighborhood, and he's really dealing with moral struggles and how people are acting and how he was raised. And we would also make this a choice for our students, and we would talk about how his move and his new socioeconomic status shaped his life, and we would make this tie into a relationship between setting and character development.
And in the book Deanie, it's about her sister, or Deanie and her sister Helen, kind of setting or being expected by their mother Thelma to like be something that they don't want to be. So in this book, like throughout the book, it just kind of shows them drifting away from their mother's dreams for them. And the way we can incorporate this into the curriculum is like making the students create a plot diagram of the book and like adding comments of like each character and like the response in throughout like each of the parts of the book. And then for the book, it's not the end of the world. It's basically a book about seeing the good and like everything that's bad. So Karen, her life is kind of falling apart, and then throughout the book, she kind of tries to like save it and like do whatever she can because her parents are getting a divorce. But then there's only so much she can do. So at the end of the day, she kind of like realizes like although there's like bad, it's like her life is like falling apart. It's not the end of the world. The way we can incorporate this into the curriculum is that many students experience like parents being divorced, so just kind of educating them about that.
This book is about a girl who moves to Florida, and she deals with embarrassment and sibling issues and jealousy and bullying, and she doesn't understand the world around her. She's a super imaginative and creative character. And so we would just ask students to talk about how bullying contributes and shapes the story for Sally throughout the whole book.
Forever is about a young couple who fall in love and have all the struggles that a young couple have. And what I would do is I would have them write a new ending because the book ends in a cliffhanger. Peter is a role model to his brother Fudge, and throughout the book he helps the adults in like controlling Fudge. And I would have students write about role models that they may have in their life. And then Tiger Eyes is about judging a book by its cover, basically. Like all these people go through different things that also the main character does. And I would have students sketch and then write about the characters in the book.
And that is about our author. And then if you want to click on our brochure, you can check that out in another link. And thank you.